Whoa, yo, what's up, my friend? How are you doing today, man? I hope you are good and full of good vibes. Today, you have some fruits here for yourself, a variety of them. Wow, this was the good vibes, my friend. You see, ah, but sadly, I'll be the one representing you in enjoying them from this side. This one is good vibes. Now, my friend, you see, there is one thing about all these fruits we have here. Even if there could be a way for me to pass them to you, they could help in feeding your physical body. And you see, that's not all you are made of. There is a soul and a spirit inside of you. So, my friend, before we dive in today, I'll share with you something that will help in feeding your spirit and soul also. You see, some books or some words of wisdom from this book here, The Guide of Life. These ones, my friend, they help in refreshing your soul because they're even talking about the creator of us all, whom we really acknowledge. Hear what it says. Wait, there's another place here. Yeah, this is what it says. Lord, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds, O Lord. Renew them in our day. In our time, make them known in wrath. Remember mercy. God came from Teman, the Holy One from Mount Paran. His glory covered the heavens and his praise filled the earth. His splendor was like the sunrise rays flashed from his sand, where his power was hidden. Wonderful. This, my friends, is from Habakkuk 3:2 going down. There's someone here I introduced to you. So before we continue, this one, another interesting creature of God. Now, my friend, good vibe soul, here we acknowledge our Creator as the one that helps us in driving our message home. Our message, my friend, of love, peace, honesty, and forgiveness to the whole world, which we drive by reacting together to different good vibes videos, just like you shall be witnessing. But my friend, before you dive in and take a look at the videos, it would be great if we told our Creator something about the day and asked for their guidance. So let's do so together before we start. Thank you, wonderful Father, Creator of heaven and earth. Thank you for your goodness and love, Father. Thank you for your light in this child here, Father, this viewer. All glory and honor belong unto you. Thank you for their lives, Father. Thank you for the blessings that you shall extend to them before we reach the end of the video, Father. Thank you, dear Lord, for you shall fill us with your spirit together with your child here, Father, to react to today's video with love and peace, Father. Help us to be a light to those that shall see these videos, and may our message reach the whole world. Be with us till the end, Father. All glory and honor belong unto you. In your mighty name, Jesus, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Let's dive in good vibes source.
This person had a terrifying dream experience that so many people have also had. For some reason, I'm literally obsessed with these stories. So this person was lucid dreaming the other night. So they said that it's not something that happens normally. Like they normally don't lucid dream, but for some reason this night they were. She described the dream and where she was in the dream and how she noticed something was off in the dream. She noticed something that was there that wouldn't normally be there in real life. And that's what made her say, oh, hey, I'm dreaming. I don't know about all the other people that lucid dream, but for me, that's always what it is. That's always what it is that makes me know I'm dreaming. I'll notice something and I'll be like, that's weird. And then I'll pay attention and be like, oh, because I'm dreaming. So she's talking to someone in the dream. Someone's there with her in the dream. And when she realizes that she's dreaming, she like says it out loud to herself, but like out loud, like, oh, I'm dreaming. So when she says this, the person that she's talking to in the dream face changes and they're like, what? I'm already scared at this point listening to her story. And when she sees his face change like that, she realizes, holy shit, I shouldn't have said that. Because she's heard the stories before of the people asking the time and date in dreams and all the weird stuff that happens. But she says it again Anyway, she's like, this is me dreaming. At that point, apparently, not only now has his face changed, but now his cheeks turn into like static, like you would see on an old TV, like staticky. His cheeks, which is really weird. I've never heard of this before. And he starts to mouth something to her. And she's like, what? And so he says at this time, they're gonna find you. Oh my God. No. So right after this, she says she's yanked into like some other dimension or something. It's gray everywhere. There's like outlines of cubes. Like, and she said she's being pulled, like she was yanked out and she's being pulled. I don't know if she's being pulled like through the dimension or what, but she's being pulled. The wind is really strong because she's going like really fast. And she's like, oh my God, I have to wake up. I have to wake up because what's going to happen? So it's like really hard for her to wake up. She normally can wake herself up and she's having like such a hard time waking herself up at this point. And she's like, oh my God, am I dead? Like, am I never going to wake up? And then she finally does wake up. She opens her eyes. She sees her boyfriend. She's like, hey, am I still dreaming? And her boyfriend is like, no. Like really weird. And then she finally does wake up, actually wakes up. Her eyes start to open. She wakes up. Her boyfriend is next to her and he is awake. He's been awake. And then they start talking about the dream. Now we've heard so many of these stories before, right? Like so many where people ask the time and date or tell the person in the dream that they're dreaming and then something weird happens. This is the first time. So everything normally gets really weird, right? Everything gets really scary, like crazy scary and weird smiles and crazy other dimensions and weird shit. But this is the first time I've heard someone say that like the person in the dream's cheeks turned to like static. And then they were like pulled through this like gray place with cubes. I mean, the static cheeks part is like really weird to me. And the fact that that person in the dream was like, they're gonna find you. Oh! If you know what I'm talking about, please go look this up. It's crazy. I like to refer to them as the dream police a lot. And it gives me like TVA vibes from Loki. If you've ever seen Loki, like you're not allowed to know you're dreaming. I don't know why. I still don't know why. We've speculated a million times and I don't like any of the answers. I know that time's not real and that's why they don't like when you ask what the time is. But in this case, she didn't even ask the time. She didn't ask the time or the date at all. She just said she knows she's dreaming and shit got weird. So what the fuck?
Did you see these predictions? They're going all over my FYP. So let me show you because some of them are crazy. Pay attention. Right here.
My predictions for 2024. Trump will be re-elected president, and he will hold office for the longest time compared to any other president. Inner Earth civilizations are going to be made known. And it won't be disclosure. It's going to be because they impose themselves.
Oh my.
In March, Planet Nibiru will be visible to Earthlings.
That's going to be crazy.
Between February and March 2024. A planet 8 times larger than Earth is going to be visible to humans.
Wow.
Scientists are going to discover that there is a mirror Earth within our solar system. Opposite gravity. And the sky is not blue, but red and purple as their oceans reflect the sky. And yes, it is a habitable planet.
Wow.
2024. CERN, or an agency similar to CERN, is to expose interdimensional travel.
Yep.
They've already done it. They've already succeeded. But they will come out and tell everyone.
We all know.
Texas and Florida are going to want to separate from the rest of the United States. They want to become independent. This year, dragons are going to be rediscovered. Not discovered. They already existed. They already lived amongst men. It's just going to be explained. There's going to be evidence, but not of a dead species, of a living, thriving species with over 2,000 breeds of dragons. They breathe fire, they fly, and they communicate with man telepathically. Between now and Christmas, a famous singer that we all thought to be deceased will come out admitting to have faked his own death. And this person is legendary. It is a male with black hair and white hair.
Wow.
If there are not to be any more timeline shift, These are the predictions from 2024 to all the way to the end of 2025.
Isn't that crazy? But I know that a lot of people that predict have said that yes, Trump is going to win. I'm more concerned about the dragons and who is coming back. You know, maybe Michael Jackson, maybe Tupac. I don't know. What do you think?
The following footage is from a couple of campers in Ottawa National Forest. They were awoken by noises around their campsite, rocks being thrown, just different things going on. When they got out and started recording, and they captured something, but what that something is the question. It seems to be an unidentified creature blending in or camouflaging with the foliage around them. But it's pretty big, and I don't think this is a bear. Take a look at this and tell me what you think this could be. Is this Bigfoot or is this something else?
Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. It's 11 o'clock in the morning over here and it's dark everywhere. Everywhere it's dark. We can't see anything. Like you guys can see it. Astaghfirullah, Allahu Akbar. It's 11 o'clock in the morning and it's dark all over here. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
The fifth dimension is like our reality, but it functions on a higher frequency. It's not about being in a different place physically, but embodying a new level of frequency. Your body, mind, and emotions start to vibrate at a higher velocity. Thus, your being can accommodate more light. As you move to the fifth dimension, one of the things is that your energy body will restructure itself completely. I know that this may be more challenging to spot, but you'll definitely feel it as the restructuring will be coming to completion. We clear out the cellular memories and remove the old energy templates that no longer serve them. It's like getting an upgrade to your system. Many of you will first notice that you need to clear out stress from your system and also address the stress that you've carried since childhood. You'll also notice many old patterns being more obvious, so you can start releasing them from your system. Another fifth dimension sign is that you become more sensitive to vibrations. You can read people's true feelings better. You also prefer staying in environments with lighter energy. You also realize that your energy is your most valuable currency, and that it's not optional anymore to take care of yourself. Energy hygiene will become your priority. As you're shifting to the fifth dimension, you experience more soul-based connections with people. You meet more people who are part of your soul's family, and there will be instant mutual recognition. Your relationships will become equal and also more honest, as you'll feel like you don't want to be hiding your true self anymore. Exactly. It becomes harder to act out of alignment with your inner truth. As your consciousness expands, you become, sometimes more than you wish, aware of what your heart is guiding you to do. What's more, your inner peace will become your new norm and also your priority. As the emotional body slowly heals old wounds, it becomes more stable, and your moods together with it. The next fifth dimension sign is that you realize that you can't save everyone. You'll learn to respect the decisions of others, even though you may feel like you have the tools to help them. This comes back to respecting the free will, one of the building blocks of this universe. The only help that works is the one where the energy is exchanged equally. If the other person resists your energy, your help, it doesn't serve them, and it only drains you.
Yes.
As you become more connected with your higher self, you'll realize that other people choose their lessons at the soul level.
Yes.
Instead of being worried about them, you send them love and hold a space for them and trust their own timing. As you're transitioning to the fifth dimension, you experience a lot of energy cleansing. This is conducted in the union with your lower and higher self. Clearing out your own energy will help you to step into your inner power. You'll be able to think clearly, and you'll feel lighter. A big part of the shift to the fifth dimension has to do with your frequency, energy, inner light, and true essence. You, as a being who has chosen to make this transition at this point, will feel like you need to carry others with you. You have to know that you have the light within you, but sometimes it feels like you have to shine. This will change as you embody more of your soul's energy. You'll want to shine because when you do, you're in your true frequency. So there won't be so much of must, but rather you'll experience joy while allowing yourself to be your true self.
Yes.
As your emotional and mental bodies cleanse, you realize the importance of being proactive and working on your energy before it gets out of balance. Your inner guidance will guide you to the best ways to get yourself in the flow and adjust your energy without going to extremes. One of the clear signs of stepping into the fifth dimension and higher is that your way of thinking shifts. You may not even recognize your old self anymore. Your mind becomes clearer, and you can see through the ego illusions.
Yes.
Eventually, you'll experience more lightness and space within your consciousness, and your mind will become more stable and calmer. The more you shift to the fifth dimension frequency, the more you're rooted in the present moment. You're more accepting of your circumstances and your past. You see your life from a higher, more expanded consciousness that will help you to accept yourself and others. All the above fifth dimension signs will happen gradually, depending on your soul's chosen program of ascension. At this point, you may resonate with some of the signs while not with others. Just by being attracted to this video, you are transitioning to the fifth dimension.
The most powerful telescope in space just released a new image of one of the coolest galaxies ever. This is Hubble Space Telescope's image of the same galaxy. It's called the Sombrero Galaxy, or M104. And scientists disagree on a lot about this galaxy, including its shape, because it's not really a spiral galaxy or an elliptical galaxy, but it's kind of both. Here's the spiral, and here's the blob. This is a giant bright nucleus that we can't see through in this image. But here's the image from JWST. We can see through it, and we can more clearly see the shape of the entire galaxy. This galaxy is only 30 million light years from Earth, which seems like it's really far away. However, right here is a supermassive black hole, and these are at the center of most galaxies, but this one is 1 billion times the mass of our sun. For reference, the black hole at the center of the Milky Way is only 4 million times the mass of the sun. This galaxy isn't much bigger than the Milky Way, but its black hole is 250 times more massive than ours, which means that the black hole inside of here is the closest black hole to us that's 1 billion times the mass of the sun. And because JWST can see right through that dust and gas around and through it, you can actually see other galaxies in the background.
Me and my mom, we always talk about deep occult knowledge, history that has been suppressed, history that has not been shared. Remember I told you that my mom knows what's up? She knows the dealio. She remembers. Anyway, so she was saying, my mom was saying about Atlantis. Because, how did it start the conversation?
Atlantis, the
No, but before that, how did it start?
I don't know.
¿No te acuerdas que te dije?
We're talking about all our stuff.
Que teníamos el poder, la Atlántida era una era, era de oro.
Sí. She's saying that Atlantis was a era of the golden age. But the reason why she said that, and I was like, wait, Mom, wait, I need to put you on live video, was because we were talking about how this world got enslaved and how it became distorted and why there's so much sexualization and distorted parasitic energy everywhere you go. So then she starts talking about Atlantis. And that Atlantis, no, she said things started to change, que cosas empezaron a cambiar porque
Fuimos invadidos.
Por la luna.
Cuando vino la luna es cuando vinieron otros personajes que vinieron a invadir el Atlántida.
So there was beings that came to invade Atlantis and they brought a moon. Wow.
Acabaron con nos hicieron creer que nuestro ser, o sea, nosotros cuando en la Atlántida éramos personas sabias, personas que sabíamos nuestro poder, por eso se llama la era de oro, porque ahí estaba el poder.
So she's saying
el ser se conocía sabía sus poderes, pues.
Okay, so in Atlantis, everyone knew their power, their inner power. They were activated within their abilities and their power, and they knew each other through those powers.
Cuando se invadió Atlántida, empezaron a programarnos para quitarnos ese poder.
So they invaded Atlantis and they started to program people's consciousness and take away the power of themselves, of what they had already been for a very long time. Pero cómo esos extraterrestres se metieron adentro, cómo invadieron.
Pues la luna, pues supuestamente la luna es una nave.
The moon.
Una nave donde está, porque yo he tenido ciertos.
She says she's experienced visions.
Visiones. Y la luna es una grande nave madriza, ¿cómo se nodriza?
It's a spaceship. A moon?
Sí, porque antes de la Atlántida no estaba la luna.
So Atlantis didn't have a moon before. We didn't have a moon, and this is why there was a fall. Atlantis fell because they brought a moon. What did I tell you guys about the moon? Well, my mom was going to explain it to you more profoundly than I would ever do it because she knows more about it. She's lived in Atlantis before. And she was there. I was there too, but I don't remember as much as my mom does.
Sí, fuimos invadidos y empezaron a controlarnos.
Start to control us.
Quitarnos los poderes.
Take away our powers.
Con el miedo. Hay tres cosas con los que los poderes que tenemos el ser humano. Que estamos muy programados y muy arriesgados. El miedo, la culpa.
Okay, so this is how they started to project from the moon. Fear, guilt.
La culpa es una de las cosas peligrosísimas que si no
guilt is the most lower dense frequency, lowest frequency that you can have within your being. And a lot of people have guilt because they allow themselves to fall. And then
nos quitan el poder de nuestros grandes poderes de crear. Pero estábamos hablando de que por qué existen tantas cosas negativas al día de hoy, porque nos han enseñado a tener miedo. El miedo no puede crear más que más miedo.
She says that the reason why they've gotten away with so much is because there's so much instilled fear in our consciousness, and fear creates lower realities.
No tenemos el conocimiento de enseñar a nuestros hijos a ser creativos y dejarlos en paz, que crían sus cosas en paz. Siempre lo estamos regañando, metiéndoles miedo, metiéndoles películas de miedo, metiéndoles cosas de miedo. Entonces, este es el programa que nos quieren meter para que desconozcamos nuestros grandes poderes que tenemos de crear cosas posibles. Nosotros tenemos el poder de crear.
She says that we have power to create realities, and that so these are passed on programming that we pass on to our children, and we start to mold our children according to that program that you already have within you, and we start to tell children to not think for themselves, to not create their own unique expression of their own reality, what they envision, and to tap into that imagination.
I think it's so interesting that this is how we're warning humans in 10,000 years that they're gonna die. Like, not from the spikes themselves, but rather the ground they're sticking out from. Some call it the science of bad vibes, and you're gonna want to steer clear when you find out why it's also sitting on deadly radiation from nuclear waste, which we produce as a result of generating nuclear energy that we dispose of by burying it around the world. And no, the smoke you see rising out of nuclear power plants isn't waste. As a matter of fact, that's literally just steam, like water vapor, which is actually the reactor's main source of energy. Yes, nuclear reactors are basically just glorified steam engines, using the heat from the nuclear fission process to boil water, and the resulting steam spins their turbines. And here I thought nuclear power plants somehow harness the power of glowing green uranium directly. So, real nuclear waste comes in the form of the spent uranium, plutonium, or other radioactive element that was used to generate the heat. This waste produces radiation, microscopic particles that shoot out from it that can pass through our skin and damage our organs. Radiation sickness. In order to avoid that, we need to dispose of it properly. And they don't just dig a hole into the ground, dump it in, and call it a day. No, it's quite a process. Specialized nuclear waste disposal facilities like these transport the hazardous waste down a 400-meter elevator underground inside these corrosion-resistant copper canisters. Once they reach the bottom, automated robots transfer them to temporary storage, while another drilling robot machine starts drilling holes into the bedrock that will serve as the waste's final burial chamber. They fill the holes with bentonite clay, which prevents the waste from leaking into the water supply. Then another self-driving machine transports the waste from storage and dumps the canisters into these holes, which they fill with more bentonite clay on top, and another machine fills the entire tunnel with concrete, sealing it off for good. They dismantle the entire facility on the surface, and the waste will continue to decay underground for centuries. Too deep to affect us directly, but the area around and above the waste may be unsuitable for long-term human occupation or growing crops for the years to come. Like a lot of years. Materials like plutonium waste have a half-life of about 24,000 years, so the area might be a little sketchy for quite a while. A really, really long time. So long, in fact, that it'll outlive all languages that exist today. The way we speak evolves, like constantly. For example, here's how English sounded 1,000 years ago. You catch any of that? Words, accents, and dialects change so much over time that we can't even understand the same language I'm speaking to you right now just 1,000 years ago. Within a couple thousand years, all languages today would have evolved into completely unrecognizable gibberish, while that radioactive waste still remains deadly. So how do we warn humans in the future that certain areas contain harmful nuclear waste that might them if we don't even know what language they'll be speaking and reading? We can't just put up a warning sign in any existing language today, as it may very well be unreadable to civilizations 10,000 years from now. Sure, we know how to read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs today, only because we kinda got lucky and found the Rosetta Stone. Future generations might not get so lucky, and there are plenty of ancient languages today that we haven't deciphered and likely never will. This is the issue of nuclear semiotics. How do we communicate the dangers of nuclear waste into the future? One method is to use pictures instead of words, like the toxic waste symbol or a skull with crossbones. Problem is, the meaning of pics changes over time as well. Toxic waste might be their medical symbol, and a skull might mean bone health or something. But even if a crossbone skull still does mean danger, it doesn't exactly explain the kind of danger that's being warned. Linguists did come up with more intricate warning sign comics like these, which tells the story a little better, but is now a little complicated and open to interpretation. Here we see a little stick man that digs a hole into the ground, goes a little too deep, and releases these symbols into the air that reach him, and then he goes to sleep. There are hundreds of ancient carvings that we still don't fully understand to this day, so I'm not sure if future humans will know what we meant by this. The other idea was this: hostile architecture featuring terrifying fields of scary spikes, which we assume would naturally scare people away, as we believe it goes beyond conventional symbolism and is something that our DNA will forever find instinctively repulsive. But again, that's just an assumption. It could very well end up piquing interest and cause people to want to explore it more, completely backfiring on its intended purpose. I don't know, what's the first thing you doing if you see this? There's also the rubble landscape, filling an area up with ugly, uneven concrete and other gravel to discourage people from living and farming on it. And the forbidding blocks, irregularly shaped stone and concrete blocks the size of houses that create creepy whistling sounds as the wind blows through them. Anything to make the area feel as unpleasant as possible, but I feel like any moderately curious human would be fascinated by these and just want to check them out further. Now, these are all just ideas that linguists and other professionals pitch to science boards on this issue. We're clearly in no rush, but we still kinda gotta figure it out at some point. But by far, the craziest and possibly most effective idea suggested for this issue is that we form an atomic priesthood, a council of about 100 members who preserve and pass down the knowledge of nuclear waste sites and their dangers throughout the generations. Linguists determine the best way to pass down information into societies 10,000 plus years into the future is through stories that would likely eventually become mythology, which could potentially end up turning into a mystic religion within a couple hundred years. And then people wouldn't even believe what this priesthood has to say anyway, as their stories would be generally regarded as myths and superstitions. Just imagine the crazy cult telling us not to grow crops on a certain piece of land, or we'll be cursed, actually be telling us the truth and none of us even listen.
There's a carb that's way more dangerous than sugar. People tend to think that sugar is the worst thing, but there's other things that are even worse, This one's bad, and I'm going to show you why. If we look at a glycemic index, table sugar is extremely high at 65, where glucose is the benchmark at 100. But this carbohydrate ranges up to 136. It's a carb that is not classified as a sugar, but it acts like a sugar in a much more deadly way. It will significantly spike your blood sugar since it has twice the glycemic index number as table sugar. This carb is maltodextrin, and it's in other forms too. It's in modified food starch, and it's in modified cornstarch. They put it in many foods. They also put it in products that are marketed as sugar-free, even though it's much worse than sugar. So start reading your labels and avoid maltodextrin.